G'day, hobbyists, and welcome back to the Hobby Podcast, where we explore all things related to hobbies and passions, from trading cards to pop culture and everything in between. I am your host, Dean Alsop, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, the Colonel. What's cooking, good looking?
Oh, mate, feels good to be here.
I love recording days. I really do. I wake up with a proper spring in my step.
Yeah, it's
on
like
recording day.
going to bed like it's Christmas the next day.
When you're a kid, it's like you're just full of anticipation.
100%.
Sort of ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
But looking forward to today's episode off the back of our previous guest, Chris from Cardio, which was great fun. Great fun. Really good sort of early insight to, I think, something that is going to change the landscape in the future. We just haven't seen it yet, obviously. So there's some big things coming, and really appreciative of his time.
Yeah, very, very, very appreciative. That was an awesome conversation. So hopefully we can touch base with him. You know, keep in touch with him as things grow.
Yes, no, we absolutely will. Absolutely will, to keep everybody sort of up to speed with what's happening as well.
Yeah. But talking about keeping everyone up to speed, let's address the elephant in the room. Someone in this room has got 2 black labels in their collection now. Big round of applause.
Yes, absolutely a big round of applause. Where is it? Yeah.
Talk us through it. What are the cards to you?
So obviously I play a lot of One Piece. I wouldn't say I collect sets or anything like that for it. It's definitely a playability sort of drive for me. I don't watch the anime. I just don't know. I don't watch it. I don't have the time. I'm not going to. Blah blah blah. But what I did watch was a 2 hour and 20 minute recap of the first 1,000 episodes, just so I had a rough idea of, like, you know, who the people are. And when I watched that, the only one that really stood out to me, I was like, Chopper. It's like this tiny little reindeer looking dude, and then gets angry and goes like massive. And I was like, he's cool, man. I like that guy. So I decided that if I was going to collect anything, it's going to be Chopper cards.
Love it. And these are cards you graded yourself?
Correct. So I bought one of them. So one of them is a 3-on-3 Chopper. So they were awarded to people that won in a 3-on-3 cup. I'm not sure which event exactly. It might have been the circuit last year, perhaps. So I bought that off a mate for $100. Sent that off to BGS. It got a black label. Unreal. It is number 11 in the world, so pop 11. And last sold was $2,500.
Awesome. So cool.
Not bad off in the grading fee of $45 off 145.
Yeah. Chasing that black's hard, man.
Well, you know, like I said, I've said this to people too. I was like, I sent other cards there to sell, like that were investments, and I don't know if I would have been happier for them to get black labels, because I'm obviously not going to sell these choppers.
Yeah.
At least not anytime soon. And then the other one is a store championship chopper, and I bought that off eBay for $50. When I messaged the guy, he had 3 different copies. I was like, send me pics of all of them, and I'll pick the one, because I'm sending it to BGS. And obviously I picked the one that I picked, sent it off to BGS, black label, pop 1.
So cool.
Pop 1. Already been offered $4,000 for it.
You're the only person in the world with that card.
I am the only person in the world with that card.
That's really cool.
And we'll get in the post-production to put some pictures of them up, like one here and one here. Boop, 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 boop.
Love that. I also got a pretty cool card this week as well. So thank you to you and a bunch of our other friends as well, who got a sketched base set Charizard by Federico. It's got this beautiful Charizard sketch on it. Guys got that for me for my birthday. That was very emotional. That's a very cool card.
Happy birthday to you. All right, that's it. But yes, yeah, you've got a good relationship with Federico as well. I'd confidently say you guys are mates, and I think that sketch looks unbelievable. We might even put a picture of that up here. Boop.
I like that. Yeah, it's the only slab I've got out on show at the moment. It's absolutely beautiful.
Same. It's funny you mentioned that. My 2 black labels are the only slabs. One of two of maybe 5 slabs that I have on show.
Yeah.
But yeah, super exciting week for both of us, I guess.
Yeah, pats on the back.
Pats on the back to the lads. The Hobby Podcast, making waves. We are going to shake it up a little bit today. We are going to start with the Hobby Rumble. Now, the reason why we're going to do that is because the punishment is going to go throughout the episode. So we needed to sort of give you guys the results first, so then we can we know who the loser is, and then they can be punished at any time the other decides throughout the show.
Yep.
So that brings us to the Hobby Rumble.
Big thank you to everyone who went on voted for Rumble number 2. We had PSA versus Beckett. Now, Dino, you had PSA and I had Beckett.
I'm going to quickly interject. I let Kernsey choose, and Kernsey chose BGS.
I still stand by my decision.
I got 2 black labels, so I love BGS. Right? I mean, I had to obviously, push a different agenda.
Of course you did. How were the results?
Final results of no surprise, in honesty. PSA was the victor. PSA got, I believe it was 67% of the votes went to PSA and 33% of the votes went to BGS.
You're killing me. God damn it.
Which makes you the loser. Again, 2 for 2. And I reckon after this week's Rumble, it's going to be 0 and 3, or 3 and 0. 3 and 0.
Well,
I reckon you'll lose.
That's
again.
early. I've got a chip on my shoulder now. So
bet you do.
I'm coming for you.
So today's punishment, I've made Kernsey, the loser, a little cocktail of some sour, a bunch of different sour sort of juices. He's going to have to drink that shot. And then at any point during the episode, when I feel like it, I've also got him a little super sour warhead spray. He's just got to hit himself in the mouth 3 or 4 times. No matter what we're doing or talking about, I just want to ensure that he is uncomfortable for the remainder of the episode as the loser of the second Rumble.
As if the heat wasn't enough from the chilies in episode 1. Now
This should cool you down.
Now I've got to go sour. This is ridiculous. Well, to everyone that voted to Beckett, thank you. You are my favourite. To everyone that voted for PSA, stuff ya.
Looks like medicine.
Oh, it's a really thick consistency.
It looks like medicine.
Oh. It was it was so thick.
Open your eyes, mate.
It didn't look like that in the. Oh, I mean, it tastes nice, but wow. Yeah, that's sour. Oh, sorry.
Did I say you could have some water? This guy.
Wow, that's crazy.
Right, well, now that the punishment has begun and will continue, we're going to enjoy this. Let's get stuck into today's Rumble. We have gone down the road of the ultimate Disney princess. I am Cinderella.
And I am Elsa. It's fitting, right? We've spoken about Disney now 5 weeks in a row. It's only fitting that we get stuck into this. So I'll open it up with Elsa.
Yes.
Oh, man. Sorry, that just kicked in last second. When we talk about numbers, there was like an after hit there.
This is perfect.
Excuse me. I'm so sorry. When we talk box office and we talk numbers, there's, as far as Disney princesses, there's only 2 movies that have ever been in the top 10 at the box office, and it's Frozen 1 and Frozen 2. Frozen 2 comes in... Oh, my God. Oh, wow. This is brutal. Frozen 2 is ranked 6th overall in Disney movies at 1.4 billion, and Frozen number 1 is ranked 11 at 1.2 billion. That means the world has voted. They've gone and seen it. Cinderella doesn't come close to that.
Well, Cinderella is a timeless story, a classic rags to riches tale that resonates across generations and cultures. The narrative of her story is finding true love and happiness after a life of mistreatment, serves a powerful message for hope and resilience for everybody else. What does Elsa do?
Mate, Elsa is all about self-discovery. Elsa is all about sisterhood of her and her sister. It's not a love story. All the Disney princess...
This isn't a love story. Cinderella is a story of resilience, mate. Think about her being trapped by her stepmother and like all the horrible things she used to do to her. And Cinderella still finds a way to get herself out of that situation, find Prince Charming, fall in love and have a happy life. Because she's resilient. She has hope. She doesn't give up.
All the Disney princess stories are all just romantic entanglements that require saving from a man, whereas Elsa, empowerment, sisterhood, And she's also got magical powers. You wouldn't know that.
Princesses don't have magical powers. Fake news, lame, not a real princess. Cinderella is an original, an OG Disney princess.
Elsa has completely changed a generation. Since 2011, there's been nothing that has come close to Frozen at all.
We're not talking about Frozen, we're talking about Elsa.
Mate, I'm telling you here, right? Elsa, the magical powers she has, she can move ice, she can move snow, and also the songs that come from this movie, Elsa can sing.
Yeah, but Cinderella embodies qualities like kindness and patience and perseverance. Despite the circumstances that she's in, she remains optimistic all the time. Her story has been retold and reimagined so many times throughout film and stage productions because it is always relevant. Always have hope, always be resilient, always push forward. You can do this. In a world now where, there's so much light on mental health, this is a great story to show that if you are resilient and you have hope, you can get through it. You're going to find that Prince Charming, be theoretical or not.
Elsa, they're all valid points. I'll give you that. Do you know that the name Elsa was ranked 251st in the Western country for girls 6 years ago, and now it's 8th. It's the biggest jump of any name in the history since they've been recording names. That's all due to Frozen. The popularity around this princess is second to none.
Isn't the castle at Disneyland meant to be Cinderella's castle?
The Disneyland California, I believe, is Cinderella.
Does Elsa have a castle at Disneyland or Disney World?
Not yet, but
didn't think so.
It's getting one built.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to finish off with Cinderella, all right? So Cinderella, you can finish as well, but this is my last point. Cinderella was an original 1950 film that Walt Disney made, and it played a crucial role in the history of Disney. It was such a major success that it revived the studio after financial struggles during World War II, which cemented what is now Disney's legacy. So without Cinderella, there wouldn't even be Elsa.
Good point. Good point. My final point with Elsa is the Disney studio intended for Elsa to become part of the rest of the princess story world, but it's too big for that. They're separate. Elsa and Anna are their own franchise. They're not considered a regular princess in that world of Belle and Ariel and Cinderella. They're their own thing. They're bigger. They're bigger than all 5 of them combined.
Boring.
Make sure you get onto Instagram and
you got to vote, guys. You got to vote because let's be honest, like Cinderella is the OG Disney princess. I can respect Elsa because I haven't watched Frozen and I know who she is.
Makes waves.
Right? I respect that. But we're talking about the Disney princess. Who is it? It's Cinderella.
And with that, let's move on to the news.
Bring on the news.
We're going to open up today, Dino, with some of our golden auctions. I think this is going to be something we're going to do throughout all of our episodes.
I loved it last time. It was great.
Yeah.
Great insight. It's cool. It's cool to talk about. It's something that I don't think people would necessarily go out there and check on their own regularly.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got one of the sales came in at $113,460, and it was a 1 of 5 Wemby green prism.
A 1 of 5 Wemby went for that much.
Yeah.
What was it? 100 and what?
113,000.
113 grand.
Yeah, USD.
USD.
Yeah.
So 200 Gs.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with basketball, Wembanyama was the number 1 draft pick. He's from France, I believe.
He's massive.
He's ridiculously huge. He can shoot. He's like 7 foot.
A guy that tall should not be as nimble and as athletic as he is.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes him like crazy special.
He won Rookie of the Year. He was always going to win Rookie of the Year this year. He's a generational talent, and his cards, speaking to some basketball collectors, there's been no bigger hype in the basketball community since like LeBron.
Because this guy is going to be like, he's going to be in those conversations in 5-10 years from now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's huge.
Following on from that is another generational talent. I've got a Caitlin...
Dean Allsop, 101.
Oh, God, have to listen to him. I've got a Caitlin Clark a card here that sold for $15,800. So that's a 1 of 1. She's just been drafted out of college and out Indiana, and she broke all
Who's
of
she
the
playing for, the Pacers?
Not the Pacers, the Indiana team.
This isn't the WNBA?
The Fever. Indiana Fever. Yeah, WNBA. So she, this 1 of 1 card sold for 15,000 USD, which is great to see because she's a generational talent that's causing so much hype over in America. Her first game was the most watched WNBA game of all time. Over 2 million people tuned into it.
Wow.
I've seen reports and like people talking about like their kids, you know, when like you may take a shot and you're like Kobe or, you know, like Curry, whatever.
Yeah.
Like people are saying Clark.
If anybody ever said Curry when they were taking a shot, I'd be like, dude, it's Kobe and that's it.
What are you doing? But it's awesome to see such support getting around that and the collectability as well. You know, like I said, she broke all those, broke all the records in college. Her first game, she had 20 points, 4 assists. She got double teamed every single play she had the ball.
She had a triple-double?
She had a triple-double in turnovers, but that's because she was getting double teamed on every play. So, but that's really cool to see. Another really exciting sale was we had a full first edition Pokemon base set sell. A full
Shadowless first edition base set.
First, yeah. So 22,000. The grades.
No, were they graded?
Yeah, so they're all graded. The grades were different across.
Completely varied, yeah.
Yeah. So the Charizard was an 8.5.
Yeah.
The Blastoise and Venusaur were a 9. The Chansey and the Zapdos were both 8s, and it was sporadic.
Chansey's the second most expensive, isn't it?
It's normally the 4th. That Venusaur and Blastoise kind of move a little bit.
Because the Chansey's meant to be like really hard to get in a PSA 10 because of that silver foiling.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult.
Yeah.
But there was a bunch of graded cards. There was also some raw cards in that sale. But yeah, that's
like 22,000 US?
USD.
So you could say, call it 40 grand.
Yeah, about
thereabouts,
40
35 to 40 grand Australian. That's it's probably cheaper than I thought, maybe.
I think it's because of the Zard getting an 8.5. You know, that Zard can push that up $100,000 with an extra.
Well, if it's a PSA 10 Zard, that sells for, what was the last sale? Like 200,000 USD on its own?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess you're right.
And there was also some grades in there that were PSA 6s and 7s. Yeah. So, you know.
And if that's on holo cards, like, obviously it's going to knock it down, yeah.
The price could be raw and be pretty similar, you know?
Yeah.
Steph Curry, $204,000 for a Panini National Treasures rookie patch card. So
is that a 1-on-1?
It's 15 of 99.
What?
Yeah, correct.
And it went for that much.
Yeah. Well, think about.
So that means, guys, there is 99 copies of that one card.
Yep.
And how much did you say it sold for?
204,000.
204,000 US.
Yep. It's a
380 grand for a card that has 98 other copies out there.
Yep. Now the kicker is it's a Beckett 9.5, so it's in really good condition.
It's a good grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't looked to see what any of the other cards.
That still just blows my mind, man. That kind of money you usually reserve for, you know, of 15s and above.
Yeah.
But a rookie patch, I guess. You know, I always found that interesting with NBA cards as well. It's like, how do they source those rookie jerseys? Like, do they just hope that Steph Curry kept it and then go there and go, we'll give you like $1 million for it?
Yeah.
And then we're going to chop it up and put it on cards?
Maybe that's something we can follow up.
It'd be interesting to figure that out.
Well, it's really, I know that the basketball cards are created at the start of the season. So what you find in the basketball sets a lot is when people get traded, because the photos happen at the start of the year.
Yep.
If they get traded, the cards
stay the same.
Yeah, they stay the same.
Yeah. Or like I think the cards,
the photos stay the same.
The photo stays the same.
Description changes.
Yeah. So it'd be like, you know, somebody that's playing for the Lakers and now playing for the Timberwolves. The whole card and everything will all be Timberwolves, but the image will be in like a Lakers jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's pretty crazy. It's one of the first things when I bought a couple of basketball cards. I'm like, what is this? I was like, this just doesn't make any sense. And then I got told that information as well.
I got really excited the first time I saw it because I thought it was an error. I was like, yes, I'm going to be rich.
Wrong.
And the last card I want to share with you is a Kylian Mbappe rookie card. So this is number 3 of 5. It sold for $92,000 as well. And it's a BGS 9. So it's his World Cup. It's a prism from the World Cup. just crazy that the soccer price, because we don't do a lot of soccer research. We don't have a lot of soccer cards, but there's still a really big market there for the big cards.
The money in all forms of soccer these days is nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right. Well, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite things, which is One Piece. Because it's, I mean, you know, I'm not like, there's just always some news to report on One Piece. And I think the biggest thing is something you and I actually were discussing earlier today, is that PSA and Bandai have partnered up and they're releasing an exclusive leader card. So this leader card is not only, you know, a beautiful looking leader card, it just so happens to be the very first card ever that has the whole entire Straw Hat crew, which is like the main characters of the anime.
That's so
It's
cool.
like Luffy and his crew all on one card.
Wow.
So whilst, you know, there's some good things to this and some bad things, I think. Whilst it's a beautiful card, it's basically hidden behind a paywall, because what you need to do is sign up to PSA's Collectors Club, which is $150 USD per year. It gives you other benefits in terms of grading your own cards and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, you need to be part of that Collectors Club to receive a magazine that comes with that promo in it. So that's a bit rough. They're probably one of the most anticipated promos of all time. Bandai have decided we'll give it to PSA and it's going to be behind a paywall.
Right.
So it's obviously rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way in that sense. But it'll be interesting to see if people go, all right, fine, I'm going to sign up so I can get this card. Or if people are like, nah, I'm not going to sign up and I'll just buy it on the secondary market.
Yep.
Because obviously depending there is going to determine its value. I think I was saying to you earlier, I was like, if 1 million people sign up, then they're going to have to produce 1 million copies of that card. And there's no scarcity or rarity there. So you can probably buy it secondary for less than what, you know, somebody's paid for their membership. If everybody's like, oh, I'll just get it on the secondary and they only do 100,000, 200,000, then you're going to be talking like 2x, 3x, 4x to be able to get this card.
Yeah, of course. So as someone that plays and collects, where's your head at? What are you thinking of doing?
I want the card because of its sort of weight. The fact that it is got the Straw Hat crew on there. It's not a color. So obviously in One Piece there's different colors, which is like different, you know, aura types and all that sort of thing. It's not a color that I would play. I believe it's purple. I think it's a purple card. So I would probably never really play with it. I'd probably want to get one and grade it. Or, you know, you never know. Things change. At some point I might actually want to play with that card.
Yeah.
And use it for gameplay. The frustrating thing is that, yeah, the only way to necessarily for me to get it is either sign up to PSA's Collectors Club or wait for somebody else to receive it through their membership on the secondary market and go from there. So it's a really beautiful card. We'll put an image up here. Ding. But yeah, so in some other news, that's probably the biggest One Piece news. I always like to look at a couple of recent sales. So there was a raw copy of the Eustace Captain Kidd Championship Top Player card that recently sold for 2,400 Aussie. And then a BGS 10 set of the regionals top prizing cards, which includes a Luffy, a Law, and a Kid. So all graded in BGS 10s, sold together as a bundle for $23,000.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's crazy money, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
How many cards are in that set? Do you know?
It's 3 cards.
It's 3 cards.
Yep. So one is a Luffy, one is a Kid, and one is a Law.
Yeah.
And they all got BGS 10s and then sold together for $23,000.
Awesome.
Australian. It's just nuts.
Are you the buyer?
My wife's in the other room. Shh. No, I'm not. I'm not the buyer. Brisbane Regionals, they had their regionals, so I talked about that on a previous episode that was upcoming. So that took place in the meantime, in between episodes, which was really good. I always love looking at the results to see what decks are sort of sitting at the top. No surprise that in the top 4, 2 of those decks were Sakazuki, and that is a leader that is being banned because it's too powerful.
Will it be banned in time for nationals? Or
No, it'll be banned in time for the Melbourne Regionals.
Melbourne Regionals.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, they won't be able to play Sakazuki. But though Sakazuki came second and third, the deck that won was Gecko Moria. which is kind of the deck that sort of is similar to Sakazuki and it will probably take its place. But to my absolute delight, the deck that came fourth is the deck that I'll be playing, which is an L.
Awesome.
So it's good to know that I'll have a chance.
You can lead a camel to water, but you still can't get it to drink, mate.
Mate, I will. What did you? You didn't win any games of ProQuest in the actual ProQuest. You got a bye win and then a draft win outside of the event. I will get way more wins at regionals than you did at ProQuest.
I look forward to it, mate. I'm there to support you the whole way.
No, you're there to watch me fail. So you can give me shit on it. That's all you want to do. But that's it for One Piece.
Yeah, cool. I was doing a bit of research into a Kickstarter TCG called Ushi Push.
How do you spell that?
OSHI and then push, PUSH.
So Ushi Push.
Ushi Push.
Ushi Push.
So they set out with the goal to raise 50,000, and they raised 109,000 within the day. There's still a few weeks where it's open, but the idea around it is it's an anime VTuber TCG. So you know on Twitch when you go on and people have these like characters that they've created, which is like their personas. So instead of them being on camera, they have these anime figures or these cartoon characters, which is effectively their persona on screen.
Yep.
This TCG is purely based around that. That you can play. So it's set up to have 1v1 games, 3v4 team battles and collabs.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's all about digital personas, YouTubers, personalities. It looks really interesting. It's got a very anime like a style art.
Yep.
But it's got some real support early on, so it's probably one just to keep an eye on. Is it something that I will collect? Probably not.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my hand up and say I won't be backing that.
Yeah, but it's just it's good to see because we've seen so many TCGs go through the Kickstarter program over the last few years that there's still like things like this which are short term have success to see if they can grow into something else.
Yep.
So just wanted to highlight that, and then I wanted to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh. And the reason I wanted to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh is actually really cool news. So on the 28th of March over in Tokyo, we have a new Guinness World Record for the most people playing in a TCG tournament.
So on the 28th of March, there was a new Guinness World Record set at a Tokyo tournament for Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes, 7,443 players took part.
That is a lot of players, and they would have had to play a lot of rounds to figure out who was going to be in the top.
It was absolutely crazy. There's this like phenomenal photo of the actual setup, and it's so many people. Like the tables are so long.
Yeah.
But the really cool thing is they broke the previous record that they set in 2012, which was 4,364. So Yu-Gi-Oh! For in-person play tournaments has the first and second records.
Go the Japanese, man.
3,000 more players.
They know how to party over there, bro.
Yeah, so that's really cool.
Party time. Yu-Gi-Oh! All right, well, I want to touch on Dragon Ball Fusion World. So I think we haven't spoken about this since you mentioned the original set a couple of episodes ago. So now set 2 has just dropped. And thankfully, we've been able to open set 1 and set 2 on stream recently. So with that, it's good when you open the cards because then you really get a feel. You really get a feel yourself. And the Bandai have smashed it. So we opened the previous Dragon Ball stuff that they used to do, and every single pack looked like it almost had a hit. Bandai have reimagined it and followed the One Piece model where, you're basically getting 3 hits per box, and you can tell when you've hit the hit. Like the texture, the foiling, everything is absolutely amazing.
Yep.
So that's just popped out. So in that set 2, the main chase is a secret rare, Alt Art Vegito. Beautiful looking cards. They make these secret rare alt arts basically like mirrored. They're like silver. They'd be extremely hard to grade, no doubt. But that's selling for roughly about $1,500 currently, which is pretty cool. You pick a box up for 200, you hit that, you're laughing. You pick up 2 boxes for 400, you hit that, you still make $1,100. You're laughing. you know, but it's definitely a cool game, and I'm going to look into learning it and playing it a bit as well.
Yeah, you can definitely notice the difference between this and the old card stock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Worlds apart.
Night and day.
Worlds apart, man. Worlds apart. So what I want you to do as well is before your next news, I want you to grab that Warhead spray.
Oh, man, I thought I was going to get away with it.
And I want you to go 5 pumps.
5 pumps?
5 pumps into the mouth.
Shit. Here I thought you had forgotten about it and I was going to get away with it. So
it just took you a while to recover after that first one. I still need you to be able to help me host this show.
Yeah, it's still not great. It's a bit tingly.
I was going to put a little chili extract in that.
That would be so rude.
And not tell you.
I'm glad you didn't.
Well, I just have a feeling I'm going to lose a Rumble soon, so I need to be careful.
Who knows? At the rate I'm going, I'm not just losing, I'm getting smashed. So I'm just going to touch briefly on a few new sets that are coming out. Nothing really to report on. I'm just quite excited around the new Flesh and Blood set that's coming out, part the Mistveil. So it's a really assassin, illusionist, ninja heavy set. So we had Heavy Hitters was the last set, which was very Guardian Brute.
Is Federico still doing art in every set as well?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So him, Billy, and Livia all still
awesome.
Yeah, all still doing a bit of art, which is really cool. But they're really good with maintaining the meta in Feb, and I've spoken about that before. So this set here, there's not a lot in it for me. I play Guardian. I've got 1 card that I need to get 3 copies of for my deck, and that's all I really need from this set.
What I would say, though, is there's a nice entry level for Fab, like price-wise. So a booster box is what, circa $125?
Yeah.
So a case has 4 of those. For about $450 to $500, you can get yourself a little case, crack open 4 boxes, and pretty much know you're going to get what you need for your decks, and potentially hit like the Marvel rares or whatever the chase card may be, and potentially make some money back, or have a nice collector's piece that you can grade and keep.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to mention another content creator out there, Rudy at Alpha Investments. He released a really great video this week on Flesh and Blood and how it's a TCG that's really driven by the play and singles. So to your point around a great entry point with booster boxes, it's also, you know, the value you get out of those boxes, even if they're cards you don't need necessarily, don't like, it's got really good resale on it. So it's a really good reason as to why the market's so strong and the player base is growing the way it is.
It's great. We'll probably dip into that with today's main topic as well.
Yeah, of course. And the other one is just literally this morning woke up, ding, Shrouded Fable, the new Pokemon set. It's one of the special like holiday sets.
Who comes up with these names?
No idea, but
like, how do you go from Jungle, Fossil, Skyridge, EX Deoxys into Twilight Masquerade and bloody whatever you just said, something Fable?
Shrouded Fable. I couldn't tell you. But what I can
disappointing.
What I can say is there's been 1 card released, which is a full art illustration rare Greninja, and it is such a beautiful card.
I did see that. We'll pop it up right here. Bing. But that actually looks like Greninja's not a Pokemon that I've ever sort of gotten around, but that artwork. And every set basically needs at least 1 card to carry it, and that's going to be the one for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a really nice looking card.
Yeah, it's the Gardevoir EX of this set. So that comes out August 2nd. So
you would say it's the base. You would say it's the Charizard of the set or whatever. Like, why would you go to Gardevoir?
I'm talking Scarlet and Violet here.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, so I just wanted to touch on those 2 for Pokemon and Fab.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, I'm going to round out the news, unless you've got something to add afterwards. No, cool. I'm just going to touch on Disney Lorcana. I'm going to keep mentioning it because it's actually really starting to make waves in the Australian scene because it's not far off. So the next set releasing, we've told you before, is Ursula Returns. And then the set after that is when it's going to hit Australia. But it's hitting Australia, and we're getting stock of all the previous sets. So it's going to be massive. It's going to take off. If you can get in now, you know, from an investor sort of outlook, I would suggest doing that now. But, you know, if you're just excited to play the game and collect the game, like we opened a box last night on stream and it was great. Like, everybody's got nostalgia that hits with Disney. Everybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you don't even listen to this podcast. You would still have nostalgia opening a Disney Lorcana booster box. But I will mention, because it's relevant to this episode, the chase card in the next set is an enchanted Cinderella. And it has a very big playability ability. I'm yet to understand it because Lorcana is on my radar to learn to play. I actually really want to play that game and get involved with it. And thinking that I wouldn't initially, I was like, oh, I'll probably just collect it and open it here and there. And then I've watched a couple of games and I'm like, I'm a sucker. It just looks fun. I was like, I'm a sucker for punishment. Now I'm going to get involved into this game and buy decks. It's going to cost me money, cost me time, but I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. Yep. But so yeah, the Enchanted Cinderella. I'm actually, if I win the Rumble, I am going to chase that card.
Yep.
I'm going to chase that card and get it. If Cinderella fails me, then I'm with the stepmother and the two ugly stepsisters. I'm rocking with them if I end up losing that Rumble.
You know what? I'll double down on that as well because I know that the Enchanted Elsa was in set early days.
Set 1, $2,000 raw.
Oh no!
So continue to say what you were going to say. If Elsa wins, you're going to buy that card.
I'll work if I win the Rumble. I will work my way towards getting that card.
Yeah.
No! But you see, like they start
Cinderella Enchanted. As soon as it releases, I have no doubt that it'll start at least at probably around $1,000.
Yeah.
Because again, that's why we argued Elsa and Cinderella. These are two big Disney icons.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a bit of money in there for those cards. But well, that'll do us. That'll do us for the news, and we can rock today's main topic, which I know I'm excited to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something we've touched on briefly throughout every episode, and I think it's time to address just how important TCG gameplay is to not only the hobby but also to the TCGs that they represent. We look at the prices of cards and the collectability, and there's an aspect of that comes from our gameplay scene.
Yep.
Cards that are not really desired in gameplay, besides Pokemon, can find themselves in the wayside, not really sought after, but having that gameplay aspect there, so important for driving those cards forward.
Yeah, I think these days, it's a whole different ballgame. I feel like initially trading card games, other than Magic, so Magic is the biggest trading card CCG in the world, and its IP has purely been based off gameplay. A real, true, original trading card game. Whereas other ones like Pokemon is an IP that then dip their toes into the trading card scene. And it's a playable game, and they have Pokemon leagues and worlds and big events and all that stuff. But there's definitely, I feel like in the Pokemon community, the price of cards is purely driven by collectability. There's no if, buts, or maybes. Yep. Whereas other games, like you said with Fab, and like I've experienced with One Piece, it is purely, well, for the most part. I mean, there's collectible cards in One Piece, but for the most part, when you're looking at day-to-day sales and all that sort of stuff, it's cards trading at certain values based on their playability and their viability within the current meta and things like that. You would see a card from a set now be $4 or $5, and then 2 sets down the road, there's a certain leader or another card that allows this combo to be created, and that $5 card hits 30. So it's an important aspect from there, but it's also important in terms of growth. And I also think, and this probably goes hand in hand with growth, but having games that you can play or events that you play at creates that actual like real life community. Like you meet friends, you've got somewhere where people are like minded, doing the same thing, playing the same games. There's just so many benefits to gameplay. I could talk about it for hours, because then you've also got like the prize cards in One Piece, for example, like the one I mentioned earlier on that sold for $2,500. There's a card at One Piece in the regionals. If you're top 64, you get this card. It sells for $650 all day long. Your ticket's only $65. Yeah. Most tournaments have 300 players, so you've got to be in the top sort of quarter or third of the amount of players there. But, that just shows how valuable in so many different aspects, gameplay is.
Yeah, I think it's a great shout. The placebo effect of what gameplay does in terms of building the communities and networking and making friends. Like, you think about a lot of the people that we meet at these gameplay tournaments and people that play TCGs, and everyone is so lovely. It's so inviting. You know, I often compare it to getting your hair cut. So when you go and get your hair cut, yes, you're going and paying for a service to get your hair cut, but you get more than that. You get half an hour where you can just sit back, relax. You know, you feel good walking out of there because you've got something done. It looks great, awesome. That's the same with TCGs. You go down, you play with friends, you meet new people, you learn, there's all these things that come with it. It's not just the cards itself, but all those benefits. You know, you look forward to playing One Piece on a Tuesday night. I look forward to playing Flesh and Blood on a Sunday night.
Are you playing tomorrow night?
Yeah, I sure am.
At the Armory event?
Super Armory tomorrow night.
What I need you to do right now, though, is 5 squirts of that Warhead spray.
Oh, God. Just on a bit of a roll, too, and then you stop me.
I might make this a permanent fixture.
Yeah. I can't even look at you at the moment. Yeah, it's just that.
Well, now's probably actually a better time to discuss that Rudy video that you mentioned before, to probably even just elaborate a bit more on that, because, you know, Rudy is synonymous with the investor side of collecting. So for him to sort of bring out a video and kind of make that stipulation, especially with Fab, I think is a testament to sort of what we're talking about right now anyway.
Yeah.
And you know, there's going to be a lot of people out there that would listen to this and they're like, oh, I don't play, I just collect or whatever. But I would honestly say that if your reservation may be that you're too cool, or like, you know, you won't think you'll be interested in it or whatever, give it a go. And you might have a very different opinion afterwards, because you know, the guys that I play cards with on the outside world, outside of that like little safe space that we play cards in, are all from vastly different walks of life, different ages, different demographics, different beliefs, different jobs, different upbringings, so many differences. But when we're all sitting in that room with our decks, it's like equal. And we all treat each other equal, and it's great. And I get to mingle and meet and chat with people and play games with people and learn about people that I never would have probably come across.
Yeah.
Just because our worlds are so far apart on a standard day-to-day basis.
Yeah, it's a really good shout. When you talk about Rudy's video, the cycle of buying and selling cards that are playable within a community group of people, you're 100% right. It promotes growth, because if you were to sit there and spend $500 on cards and you can't move those cards on, the next set pops in 3 months' time and you're another $500 out of pocket. But a game that has a really good lifeblood of gameplay and sales through there, you might sell that $500. You might sell $250 worth of cards. The next set drops, you're only out of pocket $250. And then the same thing happens, and it just relieves that financial pressure as well and helps growth.
Yeah.
It's a really good shout, because I think about within the Fab community, and that's exactly what it is. You see people all the time at the start and at the end of gameplay. They're sitting there, they're selling cards and trading cards and whatnot, and it just alleviates that stress of, oh, the next set's coming out now, I need to fork out another $500. Well, you don't. You only need to fork out $250, because it's got really good sales across some really good cards and gameplay.
And dude, you will see there is almost like a resurgence in a way, where I feel like a lot of new games these days, or new iterations of past games, are definitely paying far more attention to gameplay than previously. Anything that comes out from a Kickstarter standpoint, that is their focus. Like, because you've got to, that's like the ground level. That's the roots. It's like grassroots level. You got to get it into an LGS. You got to get people to play it, enjoy it, start to feel it, especially if it's not something like Lorcana that has a huge IP behind it, right? That was always going to be successful. It just turns out they created a bloody good game. But a really good example is Dragon Ball, which we've also discussed, is Bandai's initial attempt that went on for years with DBS became just overcomplicated, and they drowned the playability within that game, and then had the guts to sort of go, all right, we've actually made a mistake, and we're gonna still have that game exist, but we're gonna re-release or reimagine the way this game is played and bring a new one out called Fusion World, which they've done, and they've followed a blueprint that they have for One Piece that they know works. And that's going to see great success.
Yeah. The relationship between the creators and the consumers is so important, because the meta of the game, they have to be constantly looking after as well, because it doesn't just flow between, oh, I'm not going to play this anymore because it's not fun or the meta's broken. It also flows into the actual card stores as well. And it helps create that community within that as well.
I literally just had like a proud dad moment, because I remember when we first met, you were pretty much just a collector. And you'd sort of, I think through our MetaZoo journey, started to kind of pick up and play TCGs. And then at some point we just had discussions, and you're like, you know what, Fab looks cool, I'm sort of going to get into that. And then I'm just watching you now just like enjoy it and love it and understand it for what it is. Like, playing card games, it's great. It's great. It's a great escape. It's the same reason people play video games. Like, we both play video games as well. But for me, it's, card games sort of allows me to enjoy that competitive side. And like I said, realistically, if I'm playing video games, I'm playing online with my friends. If I'm playing card games, I'm putting myself in a situation I would rarely find myself, and meeting all these people from different walks of life. And it's been amazing. Yeah. So thank you for joining the light side from the dark.
Mate, I'm glad I joined, to be honest. I'll happily wear that one. Like, it's extremely fun. It's definitely, I wouldn't say it's one of the lifebloods of the hobby, but it's definitely a really big part of it.
Gameplay?
The gameplay.
I think that's a somewhat fair statement. I mean, I can't tell you how to feel. Yeah. I would disagree with that, but I definitely think if we had this discussion in 5 years, your opinion would be different, because I think now more than ever, there is a larger emphasis on gameplay than previous.
So what's the next iteration of gameplay? We've seen a lot of online clients and accessibility. What do you, like? Can you imagine? I had this thought the other day of, I'm in a room, 360 degree, screens, and everything is, like in Yu-Gi-Oh, how it's actually like live appeared. Like, that would just add another layer.
Yeah, I think at some point, man, there will be tables that create holograms and stuff as you play cards, for sure. Yeah. I have zero doubt that something like that is going to exist, where your tabletop cards start to become part of a virtual world. There's already a game that was kickstarted and made like $3 million called Altered, and they're kind of heading down that road. So there's heaps of cool stuff in that space that we can discuss in the future. But yeah, I'm stoked that we got to chat about gameplay today, because now I'm keen to play some games. So the final segment for today is probably one of my favorites. It is the Hobby Heroes, where we get to speak to our lovely community. We've got 3 callers today that we picked out of a beautiful bunch of people. But before we listen, let's have another shot of Warhead spray.
Jeez, it's
because the episode's going to wrap up soon, and I want you to have I want that thing to be empty. Probably going to have a sugar rush. At some point.
Yeah, I think like 8 or 9's worse than 5.
Yeah, cool.
Probably stay on that.
That's good. Yeah, that works. Man, that works. So, all right, caller number 1 for the Hobby Heroes.
Dino, Colonel, just a quick and easy one. So talking on last potty, you guys mentioned about One Piece anime closing and whether or not the TCG will stay as hyped as they are now and everything like that. I love your answer for it. I think it will thrive still. But my only concern is Bandai as a company. They don't have a proven track record in keeping TCGs thriving. Let's look at Yu-Gi-Oh! And also Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Super, they bought out the GDRs. It didn't do much. It just drove prices up, gained excitement, made people buy boxes, and now they're all obsolete anyway. So what's your opinion?
Zach Roberts, my man, that could not have come at a more perfect time. because I'm going to back up what I said last time, and I can do it even more so now because you mentioned Dragon Ball Super and Bandai's previous track record. They are now rewriting the way we should look at them because they've looked at Dragon Ball Super and gone, we effed that up. Let's reimagine it and release Fusion World, which has been a huge success. And I'm telling you, it will be a continuous huge success because they're following a blueprint that Bandai created with One Piece that has got everything right thus far.
Yeah.
So I'm confident that both Bandai with the new Dragon Ball Fusion World and with One Piece, the game will continue to roll on. And we've now seen that Bandai can actually reimagine something when they know that they've made a mistake.
Yeah, we don't have insight into the four walls of Bandai, but to your point, you just hope that they've learnt, and it looks like they have. It looks like they've learned from their mistakes.
With what we know now, or what we've got now in terms of Dragon Ball, and the banning of cards and stuff that they're doing on the One Piece side, like, you know, they're not just leaving that out there and going, we'll just make a card that kind of counters that one. They'll go, you know what, we actually probably made that too powerful. We're just going to ban it.
Yeah. And
I think that's a good thing.
And I hope for the consumer, the collectors, the players, that it continues to succeed, because that's you know, what we all love doing. So
I have more faith in Bandai now than I ever have before. So it'll be interesting to see how it all transpires, and we of course will stay on top of it, and appreciate you calling us up, Zach, to elaborate on another Hobby Heroes call that we actually had previously. that was from Swano that brought that up initially. So awesome. Caller 2.
Hey boys, this is Froggy. Absolutely loving the podcast, lads. Keep it up. My question is about Lorcana, and with Lorcana about to hit our shores later on this year, what do you think will happen to prices and rarity of cards that were in the sets that we never got out here?
Mate, these are perfectly timed. It's like we produced this show.
Yeah, we centered the whole show around these 3 questions.
We don't actually listen to these until now.
Yeah, or our authentic answer. I think it's only going to make them stronger because the more cards we have here on our shores, the more cards are in people's hands, the more people want to collect it.
Yeah.
The more the gameplay grows, the more demand there is for it.
Well, that's the thing too, Froggy, is we are actually getting all the previous sets, just not in the same mass amount that all of, you know, the US and Europe may have gotten. So we've got a chance to get those cards. But it will be interesting to watch, like, just at that point when it hits Australia and everybody's opening up first chapter or whatever and a few more else's pop out. It'll be interesting to watch the price of that card. Does it go down? Does it go up? Does it stay stagnant? Does our market affect their market like their market affects our market? I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch, and we definitely will watch it so that we can report on that. It's hard to speculate in terms of, like, what do I think it'll do? Because I'm genuinely unsure.
Yeah, goes down a little bit, goes back up. I think the general growth is going to, over time, will just make it stronger.
Yeah. And today's last caller.
Hey, Dino and Colonel, it's Ben here from Melbourne, mate. Love the pod. I've got a question or a discussion topic for you. When it comes to TCG collecting, how do you both feel about seal collecting versus binder collecting versus slab collecting? What you feel about all 3 and pros and cons, and what you enjoy about all 3. I'd love to hear your feedback. Love the pod. Keep up the good work.
Big Bad Benny. That is a brilliant question.
Yeah.
That is a brilliant question because I have interesting feelings on everything.
Of course you do.
All right. So he gave us binder collecting, sealed collecting, slab collecting.
I think the beautiful thing about
Hang on. Have a spray.
Oh, God.
Because I know you got a lot to say in this.
Sorry, Benny. I'm going to feel so sick later.
Yeah. I'm looking
There's a lot of
forward to
junk in my body.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
I was going to say, the beautiful thing about our hobby is you can do whatever makes you happy. And just because I might collect a certain way doesn't mean you have to collect the same way. Regardless of if you collect across all 3 formats, you just stay down one lane. You just collect whatever makes you happy. If you enjoy opening your binder having like a nice drink there and flicking through your binder, completing that set, like go absolutely nuts. That's awesome. If you just want to get some cards you really enjoy the artwork on, you want to collect and you want to get them slabbed and protected, by all means, go nuts. Or if you want to sit there and buy a booster box and sit on it for 10 years or display it and have a booster box wall, or, you know, there's the beautiful 3-pack blisters or collection boxes, and you like the look of that, you can do that. There is no rule to collecting. You just collect whatever you like.
Now, for an adult conversation.
What was wrong with that?
No, nothing. I think you summarized that really well in terms of, you know, you collect what you enjoy is sort of basically what you were saying through that. Like, it doesn't matter which one it is. You know, they all have their different benefits. I'm going to speak to it from a financial sort of aspect or look, or how people might view it. Because I personally have a bunch of each. You would usually, it's safe to assume that, so here's a really good example. A binder set of XY Evolutions Pokemon sells for $1,000. A sealed booster box of XY Evolutions that does not contain every card in the set sells for $1,200. It's interesting that sort of like, you know, is a thing. Even this, a medium played base set, including Charizard, like the full base set, is about $1,200, but a sealed booster box is like 20 grand. You know, like there's night and day there, right? So it's obvious that in our current climate, the idea of the chase and the pull, or having something old and sealed and the mystery of what is in there, seems to be a more viable financial collection decision. Holding sealed product is probably going to yield you more money than binders of all those said sets. But then you enter the slab. You enter the slab individual cards. I think personally, with time and still relevant now, that's probably where I would invest more of my money, because then, you know, especially if you've got a high grade, it's a very targeted card. People know what they're getting.
Yep.
You're going to have maybe perhaps more people interested in obtaining what they want, as opposed to going through the rigmarole of the risk of opening a box. So like what a PSA 10 first ed Shadow Lizard was like 200,000 USD. And I think a first ed base set box is about 200,000 USD. So that is interesting in that, right, when we compare it to what I was talking about before. But I personally collect sealed boxes because I like the way they look. That's it. I love the way they look. Every sort of set that I'm getting involved in, so whether it be One Piece, Metazoo originally, now some Lorcana boxes. I've got both Dragon Ball Fusion boxes. I only keep like one most of the time because I'm not keeping sealed product as an investment. I'm not looking to sell that further down the line. I've done that before in the past with some product, but for the majority of my personal collection, I just have one of each on the display that's hidden behind this curtain because I like to look at them. I think they look cool. I know I've always got one there. It's great.
Yeah.
And then my slabs are usually cards that I've graded myself. I've rarely bought slabs. I will always try and find the raw card and grade it myself for that excitement of, you know, and like we said at the start of the show, I hit the holy grail twice, getting black labels from cars that I sourced and you know, inspected and decided that, yeah, these are the ones I'm going to send off.
Yeah.
So my slabs are kind of like my own personal achievement. And then when it comes to binder sets, the only TCG product I've ever had a binder set of in the modern era, not when I was a child or when I was younger, is the Metazoo sets. And that was because we were a distributor for that, so we had a lot of access to it. So I could afford to, open a lot of boxes, and we could afford to open a lot of boxes and packs.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy opening them up every now and flicking through there. But like you said, it's definitely an each to your own sort of thing. There's different financial benefits to each one as well, which you can pretty easily, educate yourself on just by looking at, the stats.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to build on a little bit in respect to people's situations and how everyone's is different.
Yeah.
I talk about moments with collecting, which mean a lot, where you sit down and you have a dinner and you have a drink, and then you might open a booster box with your partner or with a friend, and you might sit there for an hour and cracking packs, regardless of whether you pull anything good or not. You have the most amazing time.
Yeah.
Now, in a sealed box on the shelf, you don't get that. But if you're looking from an investment piece, it's not only product versus slabs versus raw, it's then into individual TCGs, because the better investment for One Piece would be different to Pokemon. If it's Pokemon, you can safely say just leave it sealed and don't touch it if you're looking at an investment piece. But something like One Piece or Fab,
you're not sure.
You're not sure.
Yeah,
Could be singles.
That's because Pokemon has 25 years worth of data for us to look at.
100%.
These other games don't yet.
Yeah.
Even Yu-Gi-Oh, other than the original like Legend of the Blue Eyes boxes and stuff like that, in the vintage part of Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's been around for basically the same amount of time as Pokemon, those other boxes don't yield the same kind of value that Pokemon does. It's a great question.
Thanks, Benny. That was
great question from Big Benny T.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolute gum. Well, that is gonna wrap up this episode, I reckon. The big fella. Give us 10 sprays of the Warheads.
I forgot counting. Can you do some just for the stream? You do some just for the stream, just so they can get a bit of an idea. I'm sure they'd love to see you. It's childproof, mate.
Oh. If it hits the back of your throat. Oh.
That's what I've been putting up with all episode. So.
That rocked me a little bit for a second there. Thankfully, it doesn't hang around too long. Not bad. Not bad. Another rockin' episode in the books. Have you got anything you would like to cover off before we cut this one?
Just make sure you go like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Hobby Podcast.
This channel, please, guys, like, subscribe, and share. Help us, help.
Yes, but we're really good on the comments too. Across like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, we're seeing everything you say. So make sure you do follow all those socials. Thank you so much for all your support so far. It's crazy to think that we're already at this stage, episodes down. It's really cool.
We appreciate the support. The more support we can get, the more support we can offer. And we have plans like going forward. We're not going to stop this. If this video got 5 views, we're still going to be making them. But the more the more support we get, the more we can actually start to support a lot of Australians that we want to support and then we have plans to support. So like Kernsey said, go over to the Instagram and follow at _hobby_pod. That's where you're going to find today's Hobby Rumble poll, which will be Cinderella versus Elsa. Cinderella for the win. You will see in the description the link to SpeakPipe. Literally, guys, click on the link. It'll take you to a button that you push and you record your voice and it leaves us a message. We love this part. You saw how great those questions are. We want to hear from you. We want you guys to be involved. You can call up every single week. Tell us how your week was and then ask us a hobby related question. That's what we want this to be about amongst the other things that we do. But if you've got nothing left to add, Colonel, that is wheels up, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time for the Hobby Podcast.